And a message has come to light that there is a high school in the county that has sent messages to their teachers. Do not give any of our new neighbors anything below a C, because the first 2 or 3 years are supposed to be a language learning time, not grading them, which is basically just terrible for those kids. They need to be held accountable so they learn. Don't just give them a free pass. And there was some question about how valid that was, and the things were double checked. It brought as valid, which is terrible. Again, they're just being dumped on us. It's a shame. And the final thing I'm going to bring up is, why do we have to keep hearing this week after week after week? It's just, why don't somebody do something? Don't just keep putting it off. And that's what we hear, lack of transparency from up there. You're either not telling us everything or you're not saying anything at all and hope that nobody finds out. I mean, it's just crazy. And it's a shame. I'm still getting reporters calling me on a regular basis from out of the country. I had a message yesterday from a guy from Israel. Wanted to know what's going on here. That's pretty bad. I mean, Israel's having their own share of problems, and they're concerned about Springfield, Ohio. Just like I heard earlier today, in 4 months, things are going to be changing, and ICE is coming. Be ready.
Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Springfield is undergoing the hard times created by weak men who should never have had an ounce of power to begin with. Haitian Flag Day was meant to send a message to the citizens of Springfield, a message that Haitians are now dominant over the feckless, weak, submissive local men in power. It was a declaration of war on Springfield, and Brian Heck gleefully encouraged it. President Trump's statement that Haitians were eating dogs and cats drew worldwide attention to what the 20,000-man Haitian militia has done to Springfield. The Haitian Times advertised a gathering on September 14th at 5 p.m. called Ohio Haitians Speak at the Haitian Community Center on South Yellow Spring Street. Around 10:30 a.m. on that morning, Springfield began receiving a number of bomb threats, which closed down schools and city and county offices for days. The threats caused the cancellation of Culture Fest and prompted security measures that probably cost the taxpayers millions. The Haitian Times then made an announcement that the gathering was canceled. However, that was an outright lie. The event went on as planned because they knew there were no valid bomb threats. Later, Mike DeWine admitted that the threats were hoaxes and that they had originated from overseas. Who benefited from the bomb threat hoaxes? Haitians. It distracted the media from Haitians killing geese at Snyder Park and away from the disappearance of the local stray cat populations. It imposed false accusations against Trump and Trump voters. It gave the Haitian Bridge Alliance unjust reason to file criminal charges against Trump and Vance with a seldom used Ohio law. And it stopped Trump from holding a rally in Springfield. The Haitians' hateful plot worked exactly the way they intended it to work. I believe that Haitians perpetrated the bomb threats for political gain, but as with all hoaxes, the truth will come out. And unless Jamie McGregor can prove who made the alleged threats to him and his family, his allegations have no credibility either. Jesse Smollett, another black racist, was convicted of perpetrating a hoax about Trump and his voters. I want to know when the criminals who created all the bomb threat hoaxes will be charged and prosecuted, because you know who they are. Thank you.
During these times, that crosswalk gets particularly dangerous. Even though there are traffic signs posted on both the north and south sides in bright fluorescent yellow paint showing that there is indeed a crosswalk ahead, most people driving in both directions apparently did not take driver's education classes when they were younger. I did take driver's education classes at North High School when I was 15. And one of the very first things I was taught was that pedestrians have the right of way in a crosswalk. I can't tell you the exact number, but it's a lot of the times we've started across that crosswalk, got halfway across, and can't go any further because of traffic coming in both directions. And we have to stop and wait for the traffic to go by before we can finish our walk across the street. Many times these drivers see us walking across the crosswalk and actually speed up. They see us and they go, I can get ahead of these people. And they fly right by us. And most of the time, they're close enough that we can see inside the car. We can see the driver. And they look at us and they know that they're in the wrong. They're in a hurry. They need to get to work. They need to get wherever they're going, the Winnings, whatever. And I want to say something about that because I can tell you, I'm looking at all these drivers, they are not Haitian drivers. A few weeks ago, we witnessed 3 children at that crosswalk that were stuck in the middle. They had started across, and the traffic that was coming north would not let them finish, get across. So we politely asked the city to improve the safety of that crosswalk.
I also would like to thank the mayor, the city staff, the commissioners, the police chief, the fire department, so many services in this city. I greatly, greatly appreciate you. I hear many positive things about things that are happening within our city and welcoming our new neighbors and helping them transition. And I appreciate that greatly. I would also like to state how much I appreciate Commissioner Estrop's recent focus on getting driver's education back into the public schools in Ohio. I recently learned that funding for driver's education had been eliminated and that families had to pick up that burden in cost and time. Within the last few weeks, I saw the aftermath of 2 accidents, one at South Limestone and East Euclid, the second at West Pleasant and South Mountain Avenue. Both accidents had young adult females as the drivers, high school age folks. A recent Springfield News Sun article stated that, quote, Public Safety Director Andy Wilson pointed out that the state included money in the last budget cycle to increase the capacity to offer driver's education, end quote. I'm extremely happy to learn of this funding focus for driver's education in the public high schools, and am happy to get the word out and do whatever is needed to assist with this important possible improvement for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the end of our public comment.
A few weeks ago, Governor gave money to the city to help with law enforcement and services that we needed in the city. Instead of the highway patrol, which won't be here forever, why have we not taken that money and put it into hiring more police, more fire, and more EMT? You wanted this to be a big city, you're getting it. But we don't have the services for it. Our side streets, why are they not being repaired? You've got potholes all throughout the city, but you don't do anything to fix the problem. Rent is out of control. We have people in tent cities, children that don't have a home to go to. And yet, you guys don't seem to be doing anything. I don't see anything going on. You got money, you can get money from the federal government and the state. Why don't you get it and invest it in the city? You all took an oath to take care of this city, to serve us. Like the Constitution says, it's for the people. And another thing I would like to say, and I'll address this out. I'm tired of the hate groups coming to Springfield from the left and the right. We can do this in this city with the right resources. We don't need outside people coming in and causing the problems that they.
Thank you.
Short, sorry. I basically just had a couple questions, and I had one comment from the last meeting. There was a gentleman that got up here and spoke about the homelessness and said that basically they just need to get a job. You know, the homeless demographic in the city and the county is changing, and a lot of it has to do with the housing issue. And I know we need housing, and it's not there, but it is changing, and that I've heard stories directly from this person that there's a woman and her 4 kids that are now living in tents in their car because they got kicked out of their housing. You know, their lease that they'd had for years went month to month, and they didn't realize that they could be given a 30-day notice to leave so that they could rent that property for a lot more money. And that's sad. And just for someone to get up here and tell them just to get a job, this lady has a job, but right now her job can't support her and her 4 kids for an affordable housing rate here. And that's really sad. The next thing I want to say is related to the housing is I know that Mark Sanders a couple months ago got up here. He gave, I think, Rob, you an assignment about checking into certain addresses. And there was one address I think you even verified that had maybe 60 people living in a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. Are we doing anything if we're finding out about these houses that have all these people living in what should be single-family dwellings? Are you guys able to go out and do anything about it? You know, we've heard stories about people renting by the bed, not even by the room, by the house, people renting by the bed. And now I heard that they're renting by the shift of beds, that there's so much need for housing that they're renting and the people are having to leave with their backpacks to go to their jobs and then come back and share that bed with somebody else. And that just seems absolutely ludicrous to me. So I just have that question there. Also, I know Crystal, with all of the controversy that's happening, there was a gentleman that came and spoke, I don't remember his name, from the Haitian Community Center. And you were going to go, I thought, and speak with them to see if we could get some kind of a bridge going and how that they can better assimilate. And then we can also, the citizens, do our part as well. Did you get a chance to go? I don't know if you did or not, and I know you're busy. I know you guys have a lot going on with threats and protests and everything else going on, but I was just curious if that had happened yet. The next thing I had is, I know Governor DeWine and even John Legend has gone on record saying that that a lot of the immigrants have come here for employment. You know, do we have that many jobs available? You know, do we have 20 to 30,000 jobs? And I know that there's also a big number about how many immigrants are really here. I think, Brian Heck, I saw a letter that maybe you sent out in July to Sharon Brown and others saying you thought then that the number was 15 to 20,000. And if that's the case, obviously we're way higher than 20,000 now, even though I know some things that are still being put out say that it's 15. So I think that having proper numbers could really also help. You know, it doesn't do anybody any good to get false numbers out there. And my last question is FEMA. We just got back from North Carolina. We took 2 loads of supplies down. So I know that FEMA's in the news and everyone's saying that FEMA's taking money from the victims down there and giving it to immigrants. I've looked into the FEMA situation. And I do know that FEMA has separate funds for the immigration problem. I've seen they've given funds to cities under certain programs. And Denver, New York City, Atlanta, I know those are a lot bigger than Springfield, but they are giving grants to cities, not state cities. Why haven't we applied? Can we apply? They did 2 disbursements this year. The first disbursement, they had funds left over that weren't even awarded because they didn't have enough applicants. So, you know, New York City got $20 million. Can Springfield, Ohio get this money? You know, it's available to help with immigration, with the immigrants coming here to help them have safe harbor. So I'd like to hear anything that you know about that. And then my final statement is, you know, I worked here in the city for 15 years. We've bought property. We're building here in Springfield. And it's pretty sad some days that as citizens that we can't express our concerns without being called racist. I'm an empath. I'm a Christian. I feel deeply for the immigrants coming into this city. I understand they want a better life, and I wish that for them. but their chance at having a better life should not come at the expense of your citizens that are already here.
Thank you, Melanie,
Thank
for your comments. I want to encourage people that are asking questions and spending time to make statements for 3 minutes that we're actively listening and to please stay. We will have answers following all the comments.
Hello, good evening. I haven't spoke for a few weeks. I've been doing a lot of listening. And I had sent a thing to a friend of mine who put a document on my page about this other city who looks at our city as being racist, looks at our city as not being able to help one another. I got to tell you, I'm not a bit racist. You know, I don't have hate in my heart. I have not ever had hate in my heart. And I too agree with Diana about the Haitians are victims too. We're victims, and so are the Haitians. I could not imagine going to another country where I couldn't even speak the language and be thrown into there, taken to jobs, because that's what we've done. We've taken them to jobs that you say we wouldn't work. I don't think any of us were ever asked, honestly. I know I wasn't. I was a machinist for 10 years. I tried to get a machinist job today. It's like because they look at my age that I wouldn't be able to do that job. I got to tell you, I can still machine. I can still machine at 64 years old. The other thing is, I sent to this friend of mine, I'm going to try to read it to you. Okay, my 20-year-old granddaughter, which some of you will remember, was not able to get Medicaid for 4 months. We were $300 out of pocket. And the reason is because we were taking care of everybody else that was coming into our city, that we didn't have time to look at the citizens that were already here, citizens that work 2 full-time jobs, not just one. She works 2 full-time jobs, and she's now 6 months pregnant and still working those 2 full-time jobs. Okay? So Social Security, I couldn't get into Social Security forever. I just now had to figure out what day of the week is going to be good for me to go down there and talk to them about retiring. So I sent this to her. I don't have an ounce of hate in me. Definitely not a racist. Definitely not a racist. And honestly, I get tired of people looking at me like that because, you know, racism can go both ways. It really can. And that's something I think we all need to take a look at. Not all Haitian people are like what I have described, because I described to her a couple incidents that happened to me in the grocery store where I was blocked from going down an aisle, to my 20-year-old granddaughter while she was standing in Job and Family Services trying to get her paperwork scanned. She had one Haitian male in front of her. He got closer to her, and the other Haitian male behind her, and they kind of sandwiched. But I don't identify each Haitian in that manner. I don't have that kind of stuff in my heart. But yes, incidents are happening. And not only are they happening to the Haitians or to us, but they're also happening to the Haitians. I believe that. I believe that with everything I got. You don't take a bunch of people and cram them into one
Lisa,
little
your
city
time's up. Thank
and
you
expect
for.
them all to get along.
You would take a seat. We'll have.
My name's Amanda Richardson. I was born in Springfield and have lived here for most of my life. I'm here today to address all the Fox News grandmas and grandpas that want to come to the city commission meetings and yell at clouds. There are about 136,000 people who live in Clark County. This room holds just over 100. You don't speak for everyone, and it's kind of insulting that you present yourself that way. I'd be willing to bet the majority of residents of both Springfield and Clark County don't care about the Haitian immigrants in Springfield. They're too busy going to their jobs, paying their bills, and taking care of their kids. It doesn't affect them. But since some of you want to hold yourselves out there as the authorities on how people feel in Springfield, then I'm here to push back and say, no, you're not. You don't speak for me, and I don't speak for anyone else but myself. But if we want to make it a regular Tuesday night date night every 2 weeks, I'm game. Second, when you come down here to complain to our city government about your feelings, you're telling on yourself. You're telling the entire community that as an adult, you can't handle your own emotions and have to come to these meetings to yell at our city government because you said something racist in person or on Facebook or wherever else, and someone called you racist in response. If you need somewhere to talk about your feelings, that's what therapy is for. And let me be really clear about your feelings. No one cares. To be honest, I don't want my city government to be so concerned with a few chronic complainers' feelings that they stop doing the work they need to do. The adults will be over here solving problems. That includes discussing racism. If it hurts your feelings that you found a reference to racism in a slideshow on a county website, which this is the city of Springfield government and not the county, but okay, that's your problem to deal with. Stop trying to make the entire world about you. Speaking of the county, some of you need to stop in at our wonderful Clark County Public Library and educate yourselves on how our government works. When you come to the City of Springfield Commission meetings to complain about something Clark County did or didn't do, you're essentially calling a plumber to complain that your landscaper didn't show up last Wednesday to mow your lawn. What do you expect the plumbing company to do about your landscaping? This is the same thing you're doing when you complain to the city government about county offices. If you have issues with the county, I suggest you contact them. Stop wasting our time here at the city government offices. Finally, if you're mad about being called a racist, stop saying racist things. And you can stop with the, I don't hate all black people, just this specific group of black people. Like that makes a difference. Call it whatever you want. Racism, discrimination, prejudice, bigotry, it's still wrong. You're still a garbage person morally. While you quibble over your hurt feelings, I'll be over here doing the actual work to help Springfield by participating in a great American tradition, fighting against Nazis. Thank you.
There's an ancient philosopher lived long ago who said that the only constant is change. We face changes throughout our lives. The question is how will we work through the changes that come? That happens for us personally and physically, but it happens socially, it happens politically, it happens all kinds of ways. Often contending with change is certainly not easy. So here we are contending with change. In the past years, our community has been changing in decline. It has been changing. Our situation in recent years, due to a changing economy, cooperative efforts of many, have opened the door to growth in recent years. Now, instead of change that was steady decline, we've had major population growth and the attending economic benefits. Nonetheless, we have obviously had serious consequences to deal with in the face of all that. The reactions, as we know, have led to many unfortunate outcomes. What I have observed is that our new neighbors, the Haitians, are working to respond to this reality as many others in our community have been doing. We've received encouragement from across our country and other parts of the world. It will take patience, kindness, listening, but together we can move to what is better for us all in these changing times. My thanks to you, commissioners, and to all of those who are doing good things to encourage the change and growth that we are realizing. Thank you.
Thank you.